each and every day.
Yeah, but at least at last check, 64% of Oklahomans aren't buying into the health care plan. They don't like Obamacare, and they've been pretty vocal about it. Now, that's going to be still continue to be a tough sell, but we'll see how that plays out over the coming months.
All right,
Secretary Sebelius, thank you so much.
Kathleen Sebelius. And she, of course, was like a deer in the headlights there, Heather. I don't know if she was shocked that someone would ask her that question, or if she was shocked that that she didn't expect it. But she's heard that from Congress before.
Well, that's the thing. It has to be the former, because she knows that people don't like it. So it had to be, how dare you ask this question on the day of the sign-up? Because otherwise, it just doesn't make sense.
And she just really froze. And I mean, it's something we didn't you and I didn't discuss, the 7 million really. It's amazing how this figure has increased from just a couple days ago. They were saying 6 million, and they were claiming that that was their goal.
Right.
See, that's what I don't like. It's the disinformation, and the goal line keeps changing,
right.
And the goalposts keep getting moved. Whatever you want to say. It was 6 million. They said we never said 7 million. Now they say it's 7 million. We reached our goal. So it's the inconsistency and the lie. Now they're saying 7.1 million have signed up.
Well, and it's a tenuous goal, because we don't know what it means yet. And until we know what it means, I don't know that we should be celebrating the numbers.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I want you to listen, if we could get cut 7 up. This is David Plouffe. He's a Democratic strategist, and here's what he said just recently, and this is right in line with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who said it today, and all of the others who have said it recently. And you know, Plouffe saying that basically that the law is working, and just watch this one.
The law is working, and this was a seminal achievement. You're going to have, by the way, if you count people who are going directly to private insurance companies, Medicaid, children's health care, you're talking well north of 10 million people have health care, tens of millions and more have security. And the politics of this are tough. They're always going to be. I think they'll get better over time. This law is working, and I think the Republican playbook of just repeal Obamacare, repeal Obamacare, repeal Obamacare gets tougher as more and more people get health care. And I think smart Republicans understand that.
All right, I just don't understand, and this has to be a political strategy, how they're coming at people like him, and like I said, Schultz and Pelosi, and now, you know, and they're actually saying they're going to run on this come November. I mean, they're not saying. Some of them are saying, yeah, we need to make some changes, but they're proud of what they did. Our members are proud of what they did. We're going to run on it. People are going to realize this. What world are they living in?
Well, it's a mistake. You know, you saw the Washington Post poll today that said that the public had a higher approval rating. It's still, at that poll, which has some questionable aspects to it, is only 49%. The average, the Kaiser Foundation, I think, is 38%. I mean, the average is around 40%, and it hasn't changed. So to act as though this is something that all of a sudden people are behind is really just either fooling yourselves or trying to fool us. And either way, it's not working.
All right, let's move on to something else, and that is the Middle East and Jonathan Pollard. Jonathan Pollard, convicted of spying for Israel well over 20 years ago. It's always been controversial because there are those who claim he's been treated differently. There was a plea deal that was reneged upon, etc. To me, while that might be true, and if that's true, it's not right. To me, a spy is a spy. Right. I don't care if you're spying for an ally, you're spying for an enemy, you're spying on the United States, and you should be punished. Having said that, the United States has steadfastly, all presidents, they would not release Jonathan Pollard. Obama, up till recently, would not release Jonathan Pollard. Now the talks between the Israelis and Palestinians are falling apart. And here comes John Kerry saying, hey, we'll release Pollard if you release 1,000 more prisoners, keep the talks going, and stop building settlements on Jewish land. And there's a caveat to that, but just on the premise of that, what do you think that's the right thing to do or not?
I don't think it's the right thing to do, although I understand why. I mean, if you look, he's up for parole, I guess, in November of 2015. Yeah. So if we're going to use this chit, there's a limited time in which to use it. That said, in the wake of Snowden, how you're going to give somebody who's a traitor clemency, it's going to be really difficult for Obama to make that decision. I think it'll be interesting to see when push comes to shove whether he does.
I agree. Well, I think the die has been cast. I think that the offer has probably been made. But there's another caveat here. Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, has done something today that forced John Kerry, and this is breaking news, has forced John Kerry to cancel his talks today with Abbas. Abbas has sent applications to 15 UN agencies to saying we want to file for statehood. And that was a no-no. And the U.S. has always maintained that the Palestinians cannot seek recognition for statehood at the UN, and the U.S. would not support it. I got to tell you, even though Kerry canceled his plans with Abbas, I got to feel, I have a question as to whether or not this, in my view, anti-Israel administration might not say, hey, you know, Netanyahu's inflexible, which I don't believe, Netanyahu's to blame, which I don't believe, and we're now backing the Palestinian state at the UN.
Well, we would lose any ground we've gained. You know, Kerry set the deadline of April 29th to have this all taken care of and done, and you know, it's getting worse and worse. When I saw the news today, I mean, it really takes things and just makes everything just fall apart. No,
it really does. And part of the deal with Pollard is to extend the talks beyond the deadline. But here again, with this happening, with this proposal out there, what's the motivation for Abbas to say, well, we're going to go our own way anyway, unless you don't want the peace process to work.
Yeah, and unless you're not serious about negotiating and you're just kind of yanking various chains, it doesn't make sense.
Yanking various chains. I have to write that one down. I never quite heard that one. Okay, not put that way, yeah.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, especially today, the timing of it. What, was he offended because he wasn't met with first? Or wasn't, you know, it just doesn't make sense.
All right, so we are joined right now by Ron Christie? Okay, it was a good guess. I had a 50-50 shot. Ron Christie, former special assistant to President George W. Bush, and of course, columnist and commentator. Hello, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
Good afternoon. How are you both?
Good. And okay, so let me ask you your take on this Pollard offer and the move by Abbas to go to the UN and petition 15 agencies there to accept the Palestinian state.
Well, I think for actually having met with Abbas myself in Ramallah nearly 10 years ago and watched his actions over the years, I think he's not very serious about Middle East peace. I think he's serious about receiving financial assistance from the United States and from the United Nations community to enrich himself. The West Bank, if you've ever been, it's just the most atrocious, poverty-stricken area. So when you look at his true motivation, I think it's looking for statehood to elevate his own personal status rather than the status of his own people. And certainly as it relates to Jonathan Pollard, I think he is a traitor, and I think he's a spy, and I think he ought to sit and remain where he's sitting.
Yeah, no, and of course George W. Bush, big supporter of Israel and Netanyahu and the Israeli cause. He would never consider releasing Pollard, never did.
Never, and I tell you, the other thing I might add here, Steve, is that the commitment shown by the Bush administration towards Israel, I think, not only our strongest friend in the region and the allies that they are for being a democratic country, but the way that the Obama administration, I think, has been harassing Israel, has shown a great deal of disrespect to Israel during the 5.5 years or so of the Obama administration. So I do think, as we heard an Israeli official say a couple months ago, that perhaps the only way to get Kerry and the Obama administration to leave them alone is for them to get the Nobel Peace Prize. They'll leave the Israelis alone. So a really marked change in tone and content with the Obama and the Bush administrations.
Well, and you can understand why they want to trade something. The Israelis are asked to give up so much with giving back these prisoners. There's the prisoners that they consider terrorists, and to just hand them over to the Palestinians for nothing, is just asking too much. So you understand why they feel that the trade is normal and logical and that they should get it. But it's just, I agree with you, Ron, that you're giving up a traitor.
No question about it. And it remains to really be seen what the Obama administration's true foreign policy objectives are in the Middle East. I mean, we've seen bright lines drawn and then sort of ignored in invisible ink as it relates to Syria. We've seen the administration pressuring Israel to negotiate with the Palestinian Authority. But I just look at their overall negotiating tactics and style and say, to what end? What's the overall objective of the Obama foreign doctrine? I don't think we have.
Right. Well, I have great fears about that, Ron. Hey, Ron, we'll talk to you later. Thank you, Ron Christie, former special assistant to President George W. Bush, and we will reconnect with him later on in the show. When we come back, we're going to take to task the decision by Governor.
Introducing the driver.